What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with DFS, bringing you a brand new video. Today's video, I'm going over quarterbacks to target in 50-50s and double ups. So this is not the tournament. I'll mention tournament quarterbacks, but this is pretty much quarterbacks that you want to be safer with and play in your 50-50s, your double ups, your head-to-head stuff to build your bankroll rather than try to win the $1 million, which is still ultimately the goal. But this is for your consistent bank management, right? So the first one that comes to mind to me, and this is just pricing and matchup, is Justin Herbert against Miami. Now, Miami does get one of the best offense or defensive coordinators in the league to help their defense, although they're missing their key piece that they traded for in Jalen Ramsey. Will not be there. They do still have a lot of pieces, Xavier Howard, Holland. They do still have a good defense, but Justin Herbert against Miami is one of the matchups that I'm looking at. Last year they played 39 for 51, a touchdown, and 22.4 fantasy points, right? And this could very well be the example of Miami possibly being able to play against the Chargers defense, although I think the Chargers defense is going to surprise some people this year, getting healthy, especially their secondary is very good. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to find a way to stop both Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but Justin Herbert getting Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, and Quentin Johnston. Like, he has a lot of weapons this year, has a new offensive coordinator that probably fits his play style a lot better. I believe this is Justin Herbert's year, and at 6,900, he is that top piece for me in 50-50s and double ups that I'm really wanting to target right now. Tua is not there yet. He's more of a tournament play. But as far as cash, Justin Herbert's who I'm targeting. And then right there at 6,500 is Trevor Lawrence against the Colts. Divisional game, but it's a game to where the Colts lost a lot of their secondary. They're in a rebuild phase. They are. Whether they're going to admit it or not. They're in a rebuild phase. Now, I believe that Trevor Lawrence can succeed more than the running backs can, and that is just because the Colts still have some good, solid defensive pieces inside their box. So, DeForest Buckner, Shaq Leonard, like, there are pieces in there that's going to make it hard to run the ball, but their secondary is not very good. They're pretty depleted. They're going to need some guys to step up in order for that defense to not get slaughtered every game, and which they won't. Like, that's just the way the NFL is. Eventually a team's going to have one good defensive game, but with Calvin Ridley getting added, you still have Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram's the tight end. Like, Trevor Lawrence, this is the most weapons he's had so far in Jacksonville, in a very good divisional matchup here for him. So at 6,500, Trevor Lawrence is another guy that I'm definitely targeting in cash games. And going down a little cheaper is Geno Smith here at 6,100, home against the Rams. So another divisional quarterback game here. And enough is proven from what we saw Geno Smith. If he could replicate the same things he did last year, the Seahawks can make a run. They've added some defensive pieces. They're getting defensive pieces back. Obviously, they add JSN, who we're still going to watch for. He's been practicing. Will he make the final cut? I don't know. But their offensive line gets even more experience. It is the same with Geno in that offense. But they add Zach Charbonnet to boost the running back room, right? They still have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. If JSN is in there, it's even that much better. But the Rams is another team that's had to sell and not sell in the right way. They just aged, right? Cooper Kupp expected to be out now. It's not looking for the Rams to be successful at all this season. And Geno Smith, 6,100 at home, playing against a defense that lost its best corner, lost basically two of their best defensive backs, and now they didn't replace them at all. So a defense that got pretty picked apart last season is even worse now. So Geno Smith, 6,100 is definitely another quarterback that I'm targeting. And then $200 cheaper is Russell Wilson here against Vegas. Now, there are some injuries for Denver, which is worrisome. It looks like Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims are going to be your two top receivers for Denver. They have a good tight end room. Their offensive line is very unproven, especially if you watch what they did in the preseason. But they do have a good 1-2 piece in Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine in the running back room as well. And Vegas' defense is another defense to where their box is good. I think their box to stop the run, to put pressure on Russell Wilson, is going to cause problems for him. But at 5,900 against a secondary that, yet again, just they added Marcus Peters. But other than that, there's no really solid pieces in that secondary. So if Russell Wilson and that Denver offense can get it together, I think he's a really solid piece for his price point at 5,900 against Vegas. Now, we go down even cheaper here. I'm not going to target any of these rookies, even though I think Anthony Richardson is a good tournament play. I don't think I'm ready to take that risk in cash yet. But Derek Carr at 5,300 against Tennessee. Tennessee, another team that builds their pieces, right? They don't like to really go buy pieces, although they did with DeAndre Hopkins. They'd rather build it than buy it. So, secondary-wise, like, they have some pieces that I think are decent, but as a whole, that secondary group is not very good for Tennessee. That's going to be their downfall. If they could step up, that defense is going to be really good. A lot of those guys have to step up, and that's what I'm going based off of, is just history of how some of the personnel has been for teams. Now, they're another team that has a really, 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 really good box, right? But the secondary has question marks. The way that Mike Vrabel's defense is guys step up. So this Tennessee secondary could very easily step up. But as of right now, I'm targeting Derek Carr, that has both Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, Juwan Johnson, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas. Shaheed stepped up in a big role. There are a lot of weapons. Taysom Hill still is in New Orleans. There's a lot of weapons there. And now with Sean Payton there, that this Saints team can go on a really good run if they're healthy. If Michael Thomas is healthy and is 75% of what he used to be, this Saints offense will be very scary. And I'm targeting Derek Carr if you need to save some money. 5,300, Derek Carr is a very good piece to have. He's never been a really huge fantasy guy, but in this offense with these weapons, he could easily be that. And when Tennessee, like I said, having a good box, New Orleans is probably going to have to pass the ball to get their touchdown. So 5,300, Derek Carr is one of the cheaper plays that I love for cash. And then we go down to Sam Howell here at 4,900. Now, the only thing that concerns me that didn't concern me a couple weeks ago was Terry McLaurin. Having Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Logan Thomas is, I guess, still there. Curtis Samuel, there. And some questions at the running back, but their offensive line improving. I wouldn't say good, but improving. But the Arizona defense, I mean, we all know how bad it is. Buda Baker is pretty much left there on an island. They did nothing to replace the talent they lost. They're in a tank year. Very clearly in a tank year. But Sam Howell at 4,900, I think if you want to save the absolute most at quarterback and have a solid piece, Sam Howell is the guy to go to. He has rushing upside too. He's not going to blow you away with his rushing, but he has that rushing upside to get you 40, 50 yards. I think is probably the realistic ceiling. It's not saying that that's going to be his consistency, his base, his floor, but I think upside is getting 4 to 5 points off rushing alone, and then having, Jahan Dotson, who's looking to take a big step if McLaurin gets healthy, having him, but it's just the fact that Arizona's defense is just bad. The team as a whole is bad. There's weapons on the offensive side, right, but that defense, besides realistically Buda Baker, there's a lot of certainty and unproven talent there. So that would be it for my quarterbacks, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. Stay on the watch out if you guys subscribe. I will be posting the running back, the wide receiver, the tight end, and I'll even throw defense in there if you guys want it for this Sunday's main slate. So if you guys are interested, definitely hit the subscribe button. I will get those videos out throughout the week, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys in the next one.